Good morning. My name is Dan Bozarth. Welcome to the Starting Line. This is where we talk about business, entrepreneurship, and of course, security. Today our guest is Greg Parks, President and CEO of Accurate Security Pros. Good morning, Greg.
Morning, Dan.
Awesome.
It's nice to be here.
All right. So I always start these with a little bit of a fun question, and I'm into quotes. So what I want to know is what your favorite quote is and why.
It's kind of an informal quote. It's, you got to believe to achieve type thing. It's all about between the ears. I was in Julian with Denise a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
We went into a store and we were looking at knickknacks, and I found this sign there, and it was just like, I gotta have it. So it kind of ties into that. And it says, you are what you do, not what you'll say you'll do. That resonated with me. It's like, talk is cheap, show me.
Absolutely.
So I always love that. It's all about
like
the results. It's not about blah, blah, blah.
I like that. I'll add it to my collection up here.
So this is my Julian quote.
Awesome. That's very
Author
cool.
unknown, Mr. Julian.
That's very cool. So our first real question is how did you become a locksmith? How did you get into locksmithing?
It's a good question. I'm not quite sure.
Well, that's going to be a short answer if you're not quite sure, right?
Done. I moved to San Diego in the early 80s, and I started working for a big box store there named FedMart. I worked there for a couple of years, and it was a German-owned company, and they decided to close all the stores. There was over 250 stores in the Southwest. So I was going to be unemployed for the first time in my life.
Wow.
And so I thought, you know what? One door closes, the next one opens. So think about it, Greg. What do you want to do for the rest of your life?
Sure.
So up until then, I was working, store management, which was very interesting. I learned a lot there, but I always liked working with my hands too. And I saw an opportunity that I can work as a locksmith. Not only could I use my hands and develop skills, but I got to do the problem solving too, the thinking part of it. I always like doing both. Plus, you're working with not only objects, but you're working with people. You've got customers, you've got people in the industry that you work with. I like building relationships too. So it was a really good combination for me. And not something you get bored at because it changes all the time.
That I completely agree with. That's awesome. So that's cool. So becoming a locksmith was one part. Now, how was Accurate born out of? So you became a locksmith, and how was Accurate born from that?
As most people that are in business, they want to have their own business. So you had that dream in the back of your mind, and I thought I would see if maybe I can get something started. And I did research in San Diego. I was living in Vista, a north suburb of San Diego, and I pulled the county records and did a bunch of reading, and I could see where all of the new growth was planned in San Diego, where all the commercial development was going in, and thousands of homes between the Mira Mesa and the Rancho Bernardo area. It was right in between the major highways 5 and 15. It was a lot of vacant land. It was a 2-lane road. They had barbed wire on the other side and cattle on both sides. So it was.
Wow.
I decided that's the place to be. There was one locksmith in town at the time in a very small strip mall. And I moved in and was up and running in about 6 months. By the time I got through getting my business together, there were 6 total locksmiths in Mira Mesa.
Wow.
So it kind of exploded, but it really was a great opportunity because I got there at the ground level, right at the bottom, when the growth was really happening. So that really helped feed me because I really wasn't having to do any marketing or advertising per se. Put a lot of dollars into it because the demand was there. All these people moving into homes, they all needed deadbolts, they needed rekeys. I started doing some automotive work and picking up dollars there. And then little by little, all these big businesses and office buildings were going up. And I was there not only to cut the keys, but then I was being invited to come and do a master system for them, do some repairs, etc. And my skills grew as I was picking up these new customers.
Cool. Now, you started by yourself, right? When did you
Yes.
when did you get your first employee? When did you start expanding?
That was in 1985. I got my first employee. So I got somebody that had not been working in locksmithing at all. They wanted to train into a new type of career.
So for 2 solid years, you were just you.
By myself. I did service
had to be
calls
tough.
before I opened the shop and after I closed the shop. That's when I did the service calls.
Awesome.
Residential, I planned for Saturdays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
The first employee was in '85, and taught that person to cut keys and watch the counter, take care of the customers.
Cool.
Then I can run out and do some locksmithing out of the shop.
So what would you consider the biggest speed bumps or biggest hurdles that you had in starting your business and then in expanding it?
There's a lot of naysayers when you're starting something up.
You can't do it. Yeah. Okay.
You can't do it. You ain't gonna last. This ain't not gonna last.
Sure.
So it's your mind, really, your own mind controlling things, and cash, money. You've got to have cash to go through the ups and downs in the business, and it's also the fuel that's going to allow you to grow in the future. Found that sometimes we overthink things. I'll do that. I'll overanalyze some things, which it's good to look at things creatively and come up with A, B, and C, but eventually you've got to pick one, whether it's A, B, or C.
Right.
And you've got to make a decision. You pick it up and you run with it.
Right.
Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're wrong.
Right. And Monty Hall's not there to help you.
No, door number one.
Or number 1, 2, or 3. That's hardly anybody in the audience is going to know who that is, but that's okay.
Monty.
So another question: what is something that people seem to misunderstand about you?
Me?
Yeah, you? Nothing ever. I'm perfect in every way.
I bet. No, I've got two sides of me. I could be very quiet. I've got the analytical side of my mind where I go quiet. I like to listen. I like to observe, and I like to think about things. That's when I'm quiet. I'd say it with a straight face. But then the other half of me is a goofball. I ask my wife about that. I'm a goofball at heart. I can look at things from an angle and find humor in anything.
Yeah,
Which
that's awesome.
I enjoy that, because no matter what the situation is, you can kind of look at it, take a half a step back and say, well, this sucks, or look,
Yeah.
just look at something that just kind of takes the
Sure.
pain out of it. And
Kind of keeps you looking positive all the time.
Yes.
If you look at it with a little
Yeah.
bit of humor.
yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what inspires you to be the very best version of you?
Good question.
I'm trying.
Well, I work best with goals. I make things up to be a goal. It doesn't matter what it is. At work, I have got my own concept of what, I've got maybe written goals for the team, but then in my back of my mind, I have other side goals or something I really would like to do, but
Sure.
maybe I don't want to state them for everyone, but it's something I really want to make happen. But even like on the weekend or something, I'm gonna get the car washed today, and I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna get that done by 2, and then I'm gonna, I'm setting those goals that I want to get it done right, but by this time, and get on to something else, and just play those little games.
So setting and achieving those short-term goals,
Yeah.
that makes you feel
It keeps me fueled.
your best.
I
your
never
best
have a
you.
problem waking
That's
up in
good.
the morning, because I know there's something waiting for me to accomplish, something to do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
The game's waiting for me.
Yeah, that's a great view. So you deal with a lot of customers, obviously. And what is your favorite thing about serving customers?
Locksmithing was good for this. You get to go in someone's home or their business. You get to hear what their problem is, interpret that, solve the problem, and you get to look at it. It's, oh, look how good it looks. And it functions perfectly. Customers overjoyed. You get all that instant gratification, and then they hand you a paycheck.
Yeah.
Very, very satisfying work.
Yeah. What's the one thing that your business did for a client that you didn't expect?
Made them unhappy.
Ooh, expand on that.
And that's happened more than once, but it doesn't happen frequently. You go out there, you do your best on something, and some customer could be upset. It could be a homeowner, it could be a property manager, it could be anyone. And you're reading them, and they're not looking too happy here. Is it something at their home, or something I said, something I did? And I found by opening up the lines of communication, you found out, they were assuming something, or I was assuming something, and we didn't fully communicate in the beginning. And it wasn't because I wasn't trying to get it done right. It doesn't meet their expectation of what their experience was supposed to be like. But even now, if a customer will call in and they'll want to complain about me or one of the tags or what have you, I found that you got to listen to them. You got to acknowledge, you understand, you're hearing where their pain is, what the problem is, and then just let them know what you can do for them to make it right, that you're going to do your best to correct this, and you understand where they're coming from. And 9 times out of 10, they calm down. Right. You've got that customer for years and years after that because you listened to them and you took care of their situation. Yeah. You took it seriously. We weren't defensive about it and saying, oh, no, we don't do anything wrong. Things happen. And I'm sorry we let you down on that. Let me do this, and this, and we're going to make this good for you.
Yeah. I'm sure that you do your best to make customers as happy as they can. And if they're not that happy, I guess that would be an unexpected thing because it seems that you put your heart and soul into what you do, and you're expecting, cheers at the end, a handshake at the end.
And get surprised sometimes.
And if you don't get it, I could understand the surprise. So that's pretty cool. So next question: What is the most important thing that you've learned in life? Now, what was your life like before you learned that thing, and what was your life like after you learned that thing?
I'm still learning it.
That's a deep question. I know.
No, I've got this one. It's really balance in life. To me that's like a lifelong chore, a lifelong skill that continues to need development. Because I like to do things with passion, whether it's work or play, I've got to pay attention to the other things. I can't just dive into work and it's all about work night and day. I can't do that. It's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for family and relationships. See, if I have to serve work, I have to serve family, and then I have to have time for me too. I have to have that, shall we say, soulful time, whether it's getting back to nature or getting in your own head, relaxation type thing.
Sure.
And if you ignore one, it's to the detriment of the other two. And it's that balance. So that's an ongoing thing.
That's a great answer. Balance.
Balance.
That could be a thought of the day.
To me, to me, that is where I am, not where I'm at. To be a success in life, for me, not talking about anybody else, to be happy and successful, I need to have that balance.
Yeah.
If it's missing, then I'm not a happy camper.
Yeah. I get it.
And others around me aren't happy either.
Cool. So we're going to go way outside the box now. So when you were 16, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, before I was 16,
Oh, goes back farther. All right. Awesome.
I wanted to be I wanted to play for the Chicago Cubs.
All right. Woo. Okay.
And when baseball season was over, I was going to play for the Chicago Bears. I was going to be a middle linebacker like Dick Butkus and rip heads off.
Awesome.
I swear, that's what I wanted to do.
Awesome. That's cool.
But then, reality kicked in, and, around about 16, I actually wanted to be a dentist. Was having some.
Really?
I had some dental work done as I was growing up. Nothing major, but, in and out. And we had a family friend who was a dentist, and I always admired him. He had his own dental thing. He owned the office building. His home was in the back half of it. He had a nice home there, and then he had the dental. So he just walked through the hallway and went to his office.
Wow.
And he had the fine motor skills, the
Sure.
small work, and he would create something or take something out or grind it down, whatever. But he had a nice touch. It was firm, but a good touch, and he did great work, and I thought that was very satisfying doing that. Good career. The guy enjoyed his life. He had a great time doing it. I said, I want to do that.
Go.
Yeah.
So basically, you became a dentist for locks, right?
Yeah.
Fine work, steady hand.
Well, I found
all
out
that kind of
they
stuff.
weren't going to let me in medical school, so that dream kind of
Yeah.
went sideways.
That's cool. That's cool. So, next question is, what's the most important lesson that you learned in school? And I'm going to follow it up, and you can answer these both at the same time. What's the most important lesson you learned from your dad?
The school one was, it really came down to finding what you are, what you're interested in, what you're passionate about. Because if you're working or studying something that you're passionate about, you're going to be good at it because you
Right.
can't get enough of it. You just want to absorb it. When I first went to school, it was, College of Agriculture to be an agronomist, aka farmer.
Agronomist.
Yes.
All right. That's a word I didn't know.
Work in the great outdoors in the sunshine. You get to work with your hands. You get to work with your head. You're planning what seeds you're going to put in, how much you got to buy, what time, when you're going to plant it, how you're going to fertilize it, ordering up this, when they're going to come and harvest. You got all these things to put together in a puzzle. I enjoyed that. Plus, I like the cows and all that stuff too. I always
Good
loved
Midwest
the
boy.
animals. But, I had a heck of a hard time trying to memorize the 200 seeds that were in Illinois
Wow.
by identifying by looking at that seed, knowing what it was as a
Wow.
seed and what it looked like as it was growing. Yeah, and the
Awesome.
Greek word for it, too, and the Latin
And the
word.
Greek word for it.
So I moved on from that and segued into business.
Yeah.
So the business was like being a farmer, because that's what farming really is. It's being a business owner. You have to control all these different factors and make all these decisions, and you're never bored because there's so much work to do. And you're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together to get
Sure.
a good end result.
Sure.
And when you nail it, it's very satisfying.
It is. It is. All right. So, how about the best lesson from your dad?
My dad had a great work ethic. He shared that with us. He worked really hard, whether it was at his job or at home. And perseverance. It was just, don't ever give up. Just keep going. I carry that now. It's like the game's not over till I say it's over.
Right.
And we're playing till I win.
All right. Very cool. That's cool. That's good. Okay. So, if you had to pick one thing that made you the happiest that you could be, what would that be?
Easy question. Easy question. I've been asked that before.
That's okay. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good. We drew something
When
out.
you're passionate, emotion
Absolutely.
comes out.
Absolutely.
My daughter's birth, Michelle.
Yeah.
She's a special one. That was life-changing for me, just being a father, the feeling of being a father. A lot of work, ton of work, but so satisfying.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
I remarried 8 years ago with Denise, And she brought along 3 more. So I say they're my bonus kids.
So you got a big family.
I got 2 extra girls and a son. So, yeah, 4 kids.
That's awesome.
I'm very blessed.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Core value, family. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, if you were going to attempt any other profession other than this one, what would your pie-in-the-sky profession be?
It's probably bad timing for it right now, and
Yeah.
I'm probably getting a little bit old for it, but I always wanted to be a pilot.
Wow. That would be fun.
Yeah, Delta's laying off now, they're furloughing,
That's-
but I always wanted to be a pilot. I took a lesson a couple years ago, got up in a small plane, and it was great. The instructor gets you off the ground, and then, I was all questions on the ground before. So what does this do? What does this do? What does this do? What is this? I had researched some of it beforehand, so I had a basic idea, but he was going, yeah, this one. So we got up in the air, and he got my hand on the yoke, and we're flying along, and he's, got to get the nose up, increase the speed, do this, and get the feet thing going on. And then, we're cruising for a while. I'm like, okay, so I want to see what this baby can do. I said, so is it okay if I go up and down and left and right? He goes, oh, sure, go ahead. So I went up, and I went down, and up, and then I went, feet left, and I went right. Now I'm doing this and doing this.
No,
he was good with
no
it.
Barrel rolls.
No barrel rolls. That was on the
like
second
that.
lesson.
That was on the second lesson. Well, cool.
That was enjoyable.
So I have one more question, and it's how I'm going to end questions with every guest that I have, because the one part about this podcast is we're going to connect this back to security. So what does security mean to you, and why?
Wow. Security is a short word, but it means a lot. It depends what you want to fill it up with. It could be personal security. It could be your family's security. It could be your financial security. It could be your country's security. It could be really deep.
It could be.
And I'm passionate about security, as I know you are, Dan.
Absolutely.
And the number one thing with working with others is trust. If they trust you, they will listen to you. If
Absolutely.
you don't have the trust, you got nothing.
Yeah.
You got nothing to share.
I agree.
So security, I'd like to make sure we have enough cash in the bank for all of our needs that are accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure we got good locks on the door. And an alarm.
And
cameras.
And cameras. Lock it, alarm it, and watch it. That's awesome. That was something great that you came up with. And we use a lot. So the law is important to us. And we appreciate that from you. And we sure appreciate your insights today. I think we had a really good conversation. And
I enjoyed it, Dan. Thank you.
And you're quite welcome. Thank you for joining the starting line. So that's it for today. Next month, we have Dane Terry from the University of San Diego. We'll be looking forward to that conversation. Have a great and accurate day.
Rum, rum.